Hello. What a freaking way to start a show. Like a you're a horn or I don't know. Anyway, welcome guys. Hope you're doing well. ZiggyNo here talking about welcome to the Heartbeat live. This show is live. I got Brendan in the room, man. Welcome. I'm going to talk about two topics today and I'll open it up to other topics. I want to talk about sports card nonsense and all the cool things that are going on. This is a positive sports card nonsense video. I'm not here to rant about sports card nonsense. I will say I find them as an interesting power in the force. I'll also say real quickly, I realize there's lines being drawn in the sand in the sports card world. Somebody the other day was grilling them. I cannot recall who it was. Very critical of Geo. But it's just interesting. And then I was listening to Geo, and who was it? They had Mojo Breaks on, Dan and Doug, and they were very critical of Filth Bomb Breaks. And I thought to myself, just watching those two interactions, and again, I forget the first one. It totally slips my memory who it was. What did Warlock say to piss you off? Okay, I'll come back to that in a moment. That's a great question. We'll leave that there. I looked at this and thought to myself, why shots fired? Like, why is sports card nonsense firing shots at Filth Bomb? Who it was not Filth Bomb, by the way, who fired shots at sports card nonsense and specifically Geo. And it was interesting seeing Doug and Dan, Mojo Break, joining them. And there was this kind of old blood, new blood. Like, for example, I got a sense from Dan and Doug, like a lot of people, that there's they made a joke of which for the top 5 worst breakers out there. Yeah, make it the top 10. We could talk about it all day long. And I found that interesting. I found that very, very interesting in the hobby. We've become very critical of each other, almost kind of eat our own. Not that that's new. It's not new. It just seems to be more apparent right now. But they also started, and this is what made me excited. They started this breakdown show. That was with Dan and Doug. They're doing the Daily Show, which is on tonight at 8 o'clock. I'll be listening to that. I like that show. I like Joe a lot. Danny Black's part of that. And then I saw that Adam, I think it's Adam, just joined to do, he basically took that daily show he was doing on the Hobby News Daily, and took that over and joined Sports Card Nonsense. So Sports Card Nonsense has just in the last week amassed like a whole bunch of content in one place, which is pretty cool. Jeremy, what's up, man? What's up, John? So I was watching that and I'm thinking to myself, is there a counter to this? Is there another group out there? Like there was Bench Clear Media one time. They were, like, I remember at one time, what's his name? Ty was pulling together different content creators under that. In fact, look at Jeremy. Jeremy Lee would be another great one. And let me tell you where I'm going with all this real quickly. Content will be the new feed into a lot of online selling, promotions, sponsors, selling picks. I don't care. And there'll be a lot of providers who won't, but you watch for that. Like, I think Sports Card Nonsense, I think they're a very smart, organized group. He's pulling together a lot of good pieces in the right places. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. I'm just very, very cool to see where that goes. I'll even say, dude, I would love to help and be involved with Sports Card Nonsense. I think what the hobby's missing is a real good yin yang show. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's too many shows which are two guys who are really the same person just playing with each other. And that's great. Or there's 3 guys who are all just playing with each other. But you don't have many debate shows, real good debate shows that are showing both sides to a topic. And I think that's one thing that we do in Injustice in the hobby. We do not show the both sides to topics. And I'll tell you another thing we never do. And I don't say never, seldom do. We seldom give solutions to problems we want to complain about, right? Everyone wants to complain about it, but no one wants to offer solutions. And this one thing I have been very constant about. You find me bitching, you'll find me ranting and giving you a written solution and proposal for how you can get it fixed. I'm big on that. In fact, I got several solutions here. One of which, I'm just going to go ahead and throw out there while I've got 7 people listening. I really think the sports card /breaking community should create an association. I really do. In fact, if I see Mr. Rubin next week at the National, and I have his attention and can seriously get him to say, Ziggy, what's one thing you could do in the hobby to make it better? I'd say make a breakers association. Put money aside to let there be a formation of an association, independent, that oversees, that gives ethics, rules, regulations to breaking. And that could feed into what my next topic will be coming up, which is this whole repack world. But before I get there, again, I want to talk about, again, I think Sports Card Nonsense, pulling together some cool stuff. I'm very excited about the breaking show. Reason for that is that I am very, very pro braking. You guys know I'm a big advocate for braking. Okay, I've been a big advocate for a while. I like the fact that Geo and Mojo Brakes bring a very good perspective. What I think they're still lacking, and I really say that I think all breakers continue to do this, is they're not giving the perspective of the true person that makes it all happen, and that's the customer. I really mean that. And I'm telling you that as a perspective, as a customer. Before I became a breaker, partial participant in the braking community, I'll leave it at that for right now because that's always interesting to talk about. I was a long-term customer. I've been buying into brakes since 2015. I bought into brakes from probably every breaker out there. Back in 2015, when there was breaker culture, I used to buy from breakers so I could just give reviews on how they were doing to the website. I just like to do reviews. I've never had a fear of buying from brakes. I'll buy from almost anyone. I just love braking, and I love the feedback that comes from it. Regulate the hobby. No. Again, I think it's not regulate the hobby, and here's my argument for that. If we want regulation to happen, guys, it just will not happen the way we want it to happen, and it'll take forever to happen. That's not the answer. It's a great idea. Like, I'll be honest. I want the hobby to be better, but I want it to be better now. I really do. In fact, one of the reasons I feel like I'm an asshole and provoke people and ask questions that they don't feel comfortable asking or answering is I really want to force change faster than it's going right now. We're moving too slow. We're moving too slow for the level of growth that we could have in this hobby if we just did some things right. I think we need more associations, right? Maybe there should be more, like, I don't know if it's a user community, but more representation of communities talking about what we want to have happen in this hobby, right? What changes should happen? How can we make things better, right? How can really, like, for example, we talk about trust. Well, put that trust into an endorsement. If you become a member of an association, you are a trusted member of that association. You fail to meet certain things, that association takes action on you. Let's give, for example, the incident that happened at Backyard Breaks. And I'm not going to use names, just use generalities right now. A young person makes a stupid decision and makes very vile comments in a live stream that represents him and his company. Is that damning for the rest of his life? No. Guys, we're all young at once. God, we all act young the other day, right? So I'm not going to judge somebody on something they said. I do think what bothered me the most was the lack of action that was taken at some other levels, right? We thought there'd be a different action taken. But in retrospect, right, we don't know what other actions were taken behind the scenes, right? And I think the most important thing I'm going to leave at this is that the market spoke, right? You didn't see a drop off in purchasing. The people didn't collapse. They're still there. They're still supporting. So I'm going to say, I'm going to stick with my libertarian roots that believe that, have an educated audience, let the market make a decision and move forward on that. Okay. So back, we got a lot of comments here. A lot of comments. Regulate the hobby. So yeah, I do want self-regulation in the hobby. And I think we can do that, guys. We need to make cards cooler. They're boring. Mike, I can debate that back and forth. Again, I know we feel that way, but first of all, for two things. First of all, I think there's too many damn cards being made. We need to stop making base cards. Or we should have base card burnings or something like, I don't know. I think there's just way too many cards. At the same time, I'm very excited about what I've seen as far as innovation in the hobby recently. It seems like every release of a major Topps product, there's something different in there that we weren't aware of or might be that could change in people's perspective. One thing I will say, and I made a video about this 5 years ago, was what I called the rise of the refractor. Right back in the day, you can call it junk wax too, but it's not. It's different. And here's why. God, I can go side note on this one. Here's why it's not junk wax. Because today, when you buy a card, let's say the card, I don't care what the card is, call it Frank's flashy, shiny card. It's worth $100 today. Everybody knows it's not going to be worth $100 forever, but it's going to sell for 90 and 80 and 70 and 60 and 50. And it can do that several times. That's velocity of the sale. And every time it does that, it's supporting another justified sale transaction. And sometimes, boop, it pops up to 80. You know what I'm saying? And that's unlike anything in the junk wax era. The junk wax era never did that. So don't ever compare the two. You never had a card in the junk wax era that you could take your Jose Canseco $40 card and sell for $40 and sell for $30 and sell for $20 and sell for $65. No, did not happen. That bitch did not move. It was like rock. No velocity. Velocity changes everything in modern cards. So modern card today, Topps Chrome's released. There's a whole bunch of Shohei Ohtani cards and Judge cards. Those two guys walk on water in the baseball league. Will they forever? I don't know, but today they do. So if it says either one of them, they're worth money. Why? Because the MVP payback program too. But my point is, refractors have value. The rise of the refractor. So it's not junk wax era. It is definitely a gambling mentality where we, as a community, have put relative value on current activity in cards and markets. I can't explain it. You can't explain it. And I'll tell you what, I don't think it can be stopped. I think you just have to accept the matrix for what it is and enjoy it, right? Enjoy it. Stop judging it. And if you're going to judge it, talk about how we make it better. How do we improve it? How do we make it better? What's up, Ziggy? I didn't watch the Sports Card Nonsense Breaking Thing episode. I thought it was good, but what everybody's still lacking to do, and I just love just jumping around here, it doesn't focus on the buyer. I believe, I have a dream. I should not, that's not even funny because that's a great man. I don't mean to use a great man in what I will refer to as an analogy, but I do believe that one day breaking will be very much like the World Series of Poker, right? There'll be these massive yearly tournaments that people will talk about. Then maybe there's an annual tournament. People will have breaking at their houses. They'll have local tournaments there, whatever it might be. But breaking will be popular in so many levels, right? It'll be publicized, and the attention will be on the breakee, the guy buying into the cards, right? Whether it's really his name or it's his, tag, ZiggyNo, right? Let's use ZiggyNo. ZiggyNo's in the break. I believe that we'll have sponsored breaks, right? Where people will sponsor ZiggyNo, sponsored by PSA and Card Letter. And well, I'm just making up dreams now, right, guys? So anyway, you see my point. Like, I do believe that can happen. But we need to put the attention on why do these people make these choices? Why are you buying the breaks, right? And don't give me the whole, it's all gambling. It's like the rush of gamble. No, it's not. Most people I know buying into breaks are calculated, mathematically minded people making selected choices based on the information given. Even the goddamn wheel that I hate, I can look at it mathematically and to tell you when it's a good time to bid or not. There are some times where you're getting great deals based on the odds, dollar cost averaging. How much am I paying? For example, if you look at a hobby box right now of Topps Chrome, it's $220, $240. I think it's $240 today when it's dropped. If you pre-ordered, it's $220. I forget. Let's say $200. Let's just call it $200. That is roughly $7. No, yeah, $7 per team is what you want to get on average in that thing. But I can watch one box breaks go for a lot less than that. People steal teams at $1, $2, get cards that are worth a lot more money. Does that mean they're idiots? No, they're playing odds. They're playing statistics. Anyway, I don't want to give too much credit to the breaking thing right now. Breaking is like poker. Great analogy. It's just gambling. It is, but everything in life, it's some level of degree, is a statistical risk. Business is a statistical risk, right? Taking chances, going out on your own, being your own entrepreneur, it's risk. Risk is what made our ancestors climb out of those trees and run across the fields. Risk is what made us cross the oceans. I love risk. I do think we need to do more stuff to manage our growth. Okay, I want to move on to my next topic, and I got a great audience, and I'm already 12 minutes. Repack. Okay, Jeff Wilson. I'm probably going to run by Jeff Wilson or see him somewhere at the National. I used to talk to him years ago, guys. I used to be his admin for his Facebook group 5 years ago. Used to have a cell phone number. I still think I do have a cell phone number. So probably could call him direct, right, if I want to. But my point to this is that I'm so disappointed in him. I'm going to change the hobby. First of all, guys, how many of us listened to his video when he said, I was watching another influencer do a repack, and it came out to the person that, what's your favorite team? And they handed him a box, and it was his favorite player. I want someone to just clip over to the Teapot part. Teapot, weren't you asking for a Mike Trout card? Oh my gosh, right there in the Arena Club pack. Oh my gosh, right there in the Arena Club. You wanted a Mike Trout. And Teapot's like, guys, like if your differentiation in business is they suck, we don't suck as bad, you should really think about your business plan. And then I don't even understand this. Like, why release it today? Why release it on Topps Chrome Day? You're trying to piss fanatics off? Like take market money away from them? I don't know. I know it's a limited amount of money, but you're trying to get attention. It was so not a good time to do it. It was just an awful time to do it. There's nothing special about it. And I'll say what I've always said before. You can make a great repack. You're just validating all the problems that are already there in the hobby. For example, didn't PSA just have a problem authenticating a bunch of stuff they shouldn't have authenticated? What did they do it again? And my biggest problem this whole thing has been, I believe that people move a lot of stolen goods through these repacks, right? I think it's very easy to crack it out. You hand it in, and now you just hand it in to Jeff, and he's going to go ahead and slab it for you. You have created a very easy path to cleaning dirty shit. That's one of my issues, I think, with these. Like, I hope that they're all like taking an inventory and taking serial numbers down and having people sign affidavits of where they got the stuff from. But that's a big concern I would have. and then altered stuff, altered, right? And then really, what's a chain of custody if it is altered? Are you going to go back to Cards HQ and Cards HQ is going to pull out the thing? Go, yeah, I bought some guy at Dallas Card Show sold it to me. His name is Ziggy. I mean, come on. I don't know. I just think it's we didn't solve the problem there. I think we just added gas to the problem. Hey, their repacks suck real bad. Mine don't suck as bad because PSA says so. My repacks don't suck as bad because PSA said they didn't suck. But PSA made those little boxes that they were selling at the those machines. They let people put like, oh, man. I really was hoping, like, Jeff, the reason I was critical of you, Jeff, is I think you had a platform or an opportunity to make the hobby better. Like, remember when you came in and you were an investor? Remember back then? Guys, remember back when Jeff was an investor? Now he's a card shop owner and a breaker. Boy, do I feel funny. And it's the way to go, guys. It's the way to go. And I'll say this real quickly, God damn it, while I'm going to rant. Look, for many years, and I'll say, here's what's different from everybody else. For many years, I came to this hobby just straight off the goddamn street in 2015, okay? I didn't have any friends in this hobby. I made my friends. I have a great reputation in the Facebook community, doing deals for years, pristine relationships. Came into the content world, definitely ruffled some feathers. I call shit as I see it. I just always have. I always will. And I'll say this too, I love all content out there, even bad content or content I'm critical of. In fact, more importantly, content I'm critical of, I like that even more. I want you to respond and sharpen your wit and give me a poke back and tell me, no, you're wrong, Ziggy. Here's why. That's okay, guys. I don't mind. Engagement is good. I want to be wrong. But I also will say that's why the hobby's missing that. We don't have a yin and a yang right now. Ziggy on Fire from Bargain Box Breaker. Wow. Spitting facts tonight. I don't know, man. Maybe we're just in the zone. Remember when he was going on an NFT and nobody bought it? Remember when he was going in? Yes, I do. And I'll say this too. Let me just quickly say something on that, John. One thing I've always prided myself, and I hope anybody who's followed me, is I don't just talk about it. I go actually fucking do it. Like, I did every NFT out there back in the day, dude. In fact, my best video ever as far as views is on my other channel, and it has like, I think 80,000 views, and it's on me showing you how to fix your crypto wallet shit. But yes, I do remember here the NFTs. My God. There's so many people though. Yes. Look, this video, I made a thumbnail, and the thumbnail is talking about sports card nonsense and about the repacks. I do have so much more to talk about. And I will say too, I have big announcement coming up at the National. I'm planning to do breaks myself and start my own breaking company. Let me hear more about that. How do I feel about Top Shot? I'll tell you what, man, I missed out on Top Shot. A lot of people made a lot of money on Top Shot. And I don't know. That's how I feel about that. I cannot wait for the National. I really can't wait to go live again because this has been great, dude. You got a very interactive group. How do you cash in on my NBA Top Shot? Their store. Dude, I cashed out right away. As it started going down, I started cashing out. Now, I will say, somebody's telling me they're still going over money and people are using them or whatever, but I don't know. Last quick question. I know somebody asked early on the whole thing with Warlock. I'll be honest, dude. Warlock was in the chat basically flaming me. And then I was like, that's it. I'll tell you, I definitely take a lot of shit from people in chats. Even let's go back to sports card nonsense. I was a fan of sports card nonsense in 2020. I spoke to Mike Geo. I actually got his cell phone number. I don't know how I got his cell phone number. I think we exchanged DMs with that. We spoke. I was going to try to go on his show at one time. He told me, well, he didn't need a guest right now. Anytime I was tiny, but I did talk to him back in 2020. Somewhere in between there was that Zeggy Yes or some asshole out there, troll. And it was never me, but he apparently pissed Geo off. And Geo blocked me from every damn account. I ran into Geo and Jesse 2 years ago at the National, said hi. I've been in breaks with Jesse. I feel like we're okay, but Geo still does not, I don't know, respond to me. I don't think I don't know. I can't talk for him. I don't think he's a really happy person with a really long list of great friends. And I just happen to not be one of them. I'll put it that way. And then the other one, who else? There's somebody else. Danny Black. Danny Black, I don't think likes me either. It's funny. Danny Black and I have the exact same birthday, not the same birth year. One of us is older than the other, but with the same birthday. We definitely crossed paths in a lot of different places. Danny's very, very well networked on the East Coast. I didn't know how well networked he was on the East Coast with all the sports card people out here in the Chantilly area and some of that. But apparently, I know John and Newman have had issues, and Danny's a friend of John. So We'll just leave it at that. That's why the trash talking from Warlock. I shit on you and this character. I absolutely have. In fact, I've got so much funny stuff I could talk about, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I got to go. I appreciate you.